legendary career in the American Hockey League of Don Stevens, this storied franchise, the Rochester Americans. Don is the longest tenured broadcaster ever in the AHL, with 40 seasons of being the soundtrack of the Amherst. Over 3,300 games, 7 Calder Cup finals, 2 Calder Cup championships, 2 James Ellery Awards from the AHL for his contributions in covering and promoting the AHL. He has called games from St. John's, Newfoundland to Abbotsford, British Columbia, and from Davos, Switzerland, and every AHL city in between. On behalf of the AHL, I say thank you. It's great to see Don's family here, and we wish Don the best in retirement, and I'm pleased to invite Don up now to say a few words to you Amherst fans. Thank you.
For a couple of years, but really got going last summer when I was presented with a couple of game jerseys complete with my name and my age on the back. What are you laughing at? Since then, I figured out that the #1 goal of the Amherst staff is to totally choke me up. And I can confirm to them that they have succeeded. My mind is blown, my heart has exploded. I just hope I can get through this. I can't make any promises, but I've been told I have to keep this to under an hour, so I guess we better get started. 40 years ago, I was hired by George Burgans, worked for the Rochester Americans and the Sabres organization, and George is here tonight. I was owned then by Seymour and Norty Knox. The day I flew into town, I was picked up at the airport by Seymour 4, I call him Quad, and he told me, "You're going to really like Rochester, especially the fans." And what he neglected to tell me is that I was going to like it for the rest of my career. Standing with me today are those that deserve just as much credit as I do for all of the years of supporting this organization. Son Scott and family, daughter Shauna and her family, son Steve and his wife. By moving them all the way across the country from the West Coast, I forced them to start a whole new and different life. And they dove right into the community. New schools, new friends, new activities. And I am eternally grateful to them, because if they hadn't done that, I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you to my family. There's some friends that have been with me since day one. They've had my back ever since I arrived in town. Kent Weisman, Kevin O'Clubson, Jody Gage. Thank you, my friends. I receive unbelievable and unmatched support from the entire Amherst staff. Recently, Rob Minter, now Chad Buck. There's Tim, Rob, the rest of the staff. And I would be totally lost without Warren Kosel, who has kept me in tune for 20 years. And I don't know where I'd be without Ryan Harr. security, the ushers, the off-ice officials that work game after game, season after season. To Colin Holman, and by the way, Charlie Mason's grandson, Chris, and the entire building staff who keep this building operational and presentable every day, every game. I have been so fortunate with my on-air broadcast partners. Going back to the one that pushed me along in the early days, John Bednarski. The closest I will ever come to having a brother in this lifetime. That was 20 years. And that was followed up then by 17 years with another outstanding partner in Rick Sealing. And of course today's partner, Andrew Moskowitz. And so many others that have given me on-air support like Brian Duff, Mike Catalana, Rory Fitzpatrick, Craig Sharon, Scott Metcalf, and so many more. And behind the scenes making these broadcasts possible, people like Phil Mercado, Gene Battaglia, and our radio station partners. Getting us on air, locally in the building, Chris Hedden. What a great job he does. And such outstanding work from remotely operating Tim Schneider, and years ago, Craig Schaller, and others along the way. A great support from Chris Anvelis and the entire Buffalo Sabres broadcast department, especially Brian Duff, Dan Dunleavy, Marty Biron, and Rob Roy, always offering support and friendship. There's also been so many relationships on our TV telecasts, including back to the beginning with Rich Funky, and along the way with Doug Emlich, Bill Pucklow, Mike Catalana, just to name a few. And those behind the scenes that have made it all work, such good friends like John Catalano and Dennis Davidson, Chris Hedden again, and a whole outstanding crew from the cameraman to all of those we never see that are hidden in the production room. My many thanks to Steve Langdon and the Amherst Alumni Association, always there to support, raising so much for charity in the Rochester area, such a vital part of this organization. I have been privileged enough to witness the growth of the American Hockey League from 12 teams to now 32, starting back with Jack Butterfield and Gordy Anziano, through a good friend with the head of the helm, Dave Andrews, and now Scott Howson. And what a fabulous job they have all done. A special thank you to Jason Chamovich from the league office, also getting everything I need all season long. And I've always received tremendous support from the other American Hockey League teams, their staffs, and other broadcasters from around the league. And of course, we should always remember, we are fortunate to watch one of the top sports leagues in the world. What a great tradition of outstanding coaches that I've had the fortune to work with. Like back to the beginning with John Van Boxmeer. Along the way with coaches like Don Lever, Randy Cunningham, and who can forget John Tortorella. And to the outstanding work most recently of Seth Appert, and now the great job by Michael Leone. And so many great assistant coaches, including a couple right over here on the bench, Nathan Pate and Vinny Prosper. Even though it's not in their job descriptions, the hockey department staff takes incredible care of me. On the medical side, Michael Dess and his staff. In the equipment side, Carl Herner, Brendan Reeder, and the rest of them. Remembering the ones that have already graduated to the Sabres and elsewhere, like Dave Williams, Benny Lang, Peter Guro, Bob Mallory, and of course Steggy. But I can't say enough about what Anthony Gady, we call him Tones, does to keep me in touch with the team, and it takes care of my travel needs. So much thank you goes to Tones. And what can you say about why we are all here? It's the players, of course. I have been so fortunate to be able to live the professional life through so many great players. But I always think back to players like Bob Ray, Dan Frawley, Steve Smith, for your years of total dedication and allowing me to ride along with you on this journey. You are not only extremely talented athletes, but you're also good friends, and you're outstanding human beings. I've always asked, what's the best part of coming to Rochester? What Seymour Ford told me 40 years ago is still the absolute truth today. I like it here because of you, the fans. My theme this season has been one more time, and that is very rapidly turning into one last time. I'm truly blessed. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your unwavering support. There is no way I can say goodbye to all of you, so I'm just going to stop here and leave it at, I love all of you, and go Amerks.
With an AHL All-Star Retro jersey is AHL President Scott Howson. And the AHL is also presenting Don tonight with a plaque that includes the opponents of all 82 teams that would have played the Amerks during Don's 40 years. And presenting Don with a framed team and office autograph jersey, please welcome Vice President of Business Operations, Chad Buck. Presenting Don with a microphone award, Amerks Hall of Famer and former Amerks color commentator, John Wodarski. And Rick Seeley. Presenting him with an engraved stick, Amerks Hall of Famer Jody Gage. On behalf of all the staff and Amerks fans everywhere, thank you, Don, for your dedication and love for the Amerks and the fans for the past 40 years. Enjoy your well-deserved retirement.